You've been pretending to be fine for too long. You smile, you show up, you keep moving, but inside, you're exhausted. Not from the world, but from your own thoughts. You fight invisible wars every night while everyone else sleeps peacefully. And the worst part, no one knows. You see, there are two kinds of battles, the one the world sees, and the one no one ever will. The battle inside your mind. The outside world can wound your body, but your own mind, that's the one that can break your spirit. You can sit in silence, in a safe room, and still be ambushed by thoughts that whisper, "You're not enough. You've failed. You're alone." But listen carefully. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. The mind is not your enemy. Unless you let it be, it can either enslave you or become your strongest ally. And starting today, you're going to reclaim control. You keep trying to fix everything outside you. People, situations, outcomes. You plan, you argue, you chase, you stress, and yet, no matter how hard you try, life still refuses to bend to your will. That's why you feel defeated. The Stoics taught the harsh truth. You control nothing external, not time, not weather, not other people, not luck. You only control one thing, your response. Everything else is noise. You suffer not because the world is cruel, but because you demand it should be different. That's the trap. You fight storms that were never yours to control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Understand this and you'll stop wasting strength on what doesn't belong to you. When something happens, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What now?" The world will always test you. But your calm, your focus, your reaction, that's your weapon. Master it, and no chaos can rule you again. Your mind is not a quiet place. It's a storm that never stops talking. Every doubt, every regret, every memory becomes a weapon against you. You replay failures. You overanalyze silence. You assume the worst before it even happens. That is how the mind traps you, not with truth, but with noise. The Stoics called this fantasia, impressions, not reality. Just because your mind speaks doesn't mean it's telling the truth. Epictetus warned, "It isn't events that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Most people never learn this. They believe every thought, obey every emotion, react to every fear. But you're not here to be most people. You're here to take your mind back. Starting today, question every thought. Don't let your brain talk to you like an enemy. When a thought attacks, "I'm not good enough. I'll never change." Don't argue. Observe, breathe, detach. The thought loses power when you refuse to identify with it. You are not your thoughts. You are the commander of them. You've been taught to fight every thought, to wrestle every emotion. But Stoicism teaches something sharper. Don't fight, detach. When you resist your mind, you feed it. When you observe it, you free it. Picture this. You're standing in a storm. The wind screams. The rain burns your skin. But instead of running, you stand still. You let it pass through you. That's mental mastery. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you detach, you start to see the difference between what's real and what's just imagined pain. So, the next time your mind whispers fear, don't chase it. Watch it like clouds drifting across the sky. The moment you realize you're the watcher, not the storm, you gain control. True strength isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to remain centered in the middle of it. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the space between stimulus and response where your power begins. Most suffering begins not with pain itself, but with your refusal to accept it. You keep saying, "This shouldn't have happened," but it did. You keep wishing, "If only things were different," but they're not, and that resistance is what breaks you. The Stoics called it the madness of fighting what already is. Epictetus said, "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." Acceptance is not weakness, it's strength without illusions. When you accept, you stop bleeding energy into what can't be undone. You redirect your focus to what can still be shaped. You can't change the past, but you can command your next action. You can't rewrite betrayal, but you can choose what it turns you into. Say it to yourself. It happened, now what? That's the warrior's response. The world doesn't owe you fairness. Life doesn't care about your expectations. Accept reality, not because you like it, but because it's the only ground you can truly stand on. Modern minds panic at the first sign of discomfort. You call it stress, anxiety, burnout, but the Stoics called it training. Pain is not the enemy, it's the forge. Every moment of discomfort is the fire that hardens your spirit. Marcus Aurelius faced war, betrayal, and disease, yet he wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." You don't grow from comfort, you grow from confrontation. Stop wishing for an easier path. Wish for a stronger mind. When you feel pain, ask yourself, what lesson is this carving into me? Because every hardship is either your destruction or your transformation. You decide which. When your mind screams, "I can't handle this," remember, that voice isn't truth, it's resistance. And resistance is a sign you're breaking limits. Pain reveals who you are when nothing goes your way. Use it. Breathe through it. Let it refine you, not define you. The Stoic doesn't fear pain. He uses it to build an unbreakable core. Your emotions lie to you more than your enemies ever will. Anger tells you to destroy what you'll later wish to protect. Fear convinces you you're in danger when you're only uncomfortable. Sadness whispers that it will last forever, even though it never does. The Stoics warned, emotions are not wisdom, they are signals. They're not commands. The first emotion is a spark. Acting on it blindly sets fire to everything. So before you speak, before you react, pause. Count to 5. Breathe. Ask, is this emotion showing me truth or just testing my discipline? Marcus Aurelius practiced this every morning to delay his reaction until reason returned. That's why his enemies couldn't control him. The world expected rage or despair. He gave calm instead. That's power. When you master your emotions, people lose their power to manipulate you, and your circumstances lose their ability to enslave you. Remember, your first emotion is not your final decision. Wait, then choose with clarity, not chaos. The most dangerous thing in your life isn't what happened. It's the story you keep telling about it. You were rejected, and now you call yourself unworthy. You failed once, and now you call yourself incapable. You were hurt, and now you say you'll never trust again. But that's not truth. That's a narrative. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by anything external, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment about it. Every time you replay the same story, you feed the same wound. You can't heal if you keep rehearsing the pain. So rewrite it. Instead of saying, 'They broke me,' say, 'They revealed what I needed to strengthen.' Instead of 'I failed,' say, 'I learned what doesn't work.' The words you use become the walls of your mind. Choose them with discipline. A Stoic doesn't live in the past. He reinterprets it to serve his growth. Your story is not over. It's being edited by the choices you make now. Every human downfall begins in one tiny gap, the moment between what happens and how you react. Someone insults you, cuts you off, ignores you, betrays you, and before you even think, you explode. That's where your power dies. The Stoics called it prohairesis, the ability to choose your inner response no matter the outer chaos. Viktor Frankl, who survived concentration camps, echoed the same truth. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In that response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is where your discipline is tested. You can react like everyone else, fast, emotional, in thinking, or you can breathe, observe, and respond like a philosopher warrior. Control that space and you control your destiny. Lose it and the world will control you. Practice it daily, in arguments, in stress, in failure, until calm becomes your default. That pause, that breath, is where real strength lives. You can't build a disciplined mind in a chaotic world. Look around you. Your surroundings are shaping you every second. The conversations you tolerate, the content you consume, the people you call friends, all of it programs your inner dialogue. Seneca warned, associate with those who will make you better. Yet most people spend their lives surrounded by noise and wonder why they can't find peace. If you live in gossip, you'll think small. If you scroll through envy, you'll feel empty. If you stay in clutter, your thoughts will mirror the mess. The Stoics practice simplicity, clean rooms, quiet mornings, and a small circle of disciplined minds, because the environment you allow becomes the echo of your thoughts. So ask yourself now, who or what is feeding your weakness? Then remove it. Replace distraction with order, toxicity with solitude, noise with purpose. You can't think clearly if you're breathing pollution every day, mentally or physically. Protect your environment, and your mind will follow. You say you want peace, but you fear silence. You claim you want focus, yet your hand can't stop reaching for your phone. You crave purpose, but you numb yourself with noise. Modern life has turned distraction into a drug, and most people are overdosing without realizing it. The Stoics would call this slavery, not of chains, but of attention. Marcus Aurelius warned himself daily. You become what you give your attention to. Every scroll, every meaningless conversation, every notification, it fragments your will. You can't build a strong mind when you keep scattering it across 1,000 empty moments. The Stoic path demands withdrawal from the trivial. Learn to sit in stillness. Learn to be alone without reaching for escape. Because in the silence you avoid is the truth you need to face. Discipline begins where distraction dies. The more noise you eliminate, the more strength you reclaim. Your focus is your freedom, but only if you protect it like a sacred weapon. You fear being alone because silence exposes who you really are. But the Stoics saw solitude as sacred, not scary. It's where you meet the raw version of yourself, without masks, noise, or validation. Seneca wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." You cannot master your mind if you're always running from it. Solitude forces you to listen to the chaos inside, to the patterns you've ignored, to the truths you've buried. It's uncomfortable. Yes, that's why it's powerful. Because only in isolation can you see what needs correction. Stop calling it loneliness. Start calling it training. The warrior trains in silence before he conquers in battle. If you can sit alone for 1 hour without distraction, without craving, without noise, you've already done something most people can't. Solitude isn't punishment, it's purification. It's where the weak self dies and the disciplined one begins to form. Anyone can lift weights, run miles, or work long hours, but few can stay calm when life cuts deep. That's why emotional control is the purest form of power. It's not about being cold, it's about being composed. The Stoics were warriors, emperors, and slaves, yet they shared one command: control yourself first. Marcus Aurelius ruled millions but ruled himself harder. Epictetus lost everything, yet no one could touch his mind. Why? Because they understood that the man who masters his reactions cannot be defeated. When someone disrespects you, they test your control. When failure hits, it tests your balance. When life shakes you, it asks, are you ruled by impulse or by reason? Every outburst costs you energy, dignity, and clarity. So breathe before responding. Speak only when your emotions serve truth, not ego. A Stoic doesn't suppress feelings. He channels them with precision. Power without control destroys. Control without emotion liberates. The strongest warrior is the calm one. You call it being careful or self-aware, but really, you're trapped in mental quicksand. Overthinking doesn't solve problems, it multiplies them. Every time you replay the past or predict the future, you rob the present of its power. The Stoics warned against this mental chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "Man suffers more from his imagination than from reality." You keep analyzing every word, every look, every possibility, and still end up with no peace. That's because the mind, when left untrained, feeds on uncertainty. The cure is not more thinking, it's disciplined focus. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, drop it. If yes, act and stop looping. You cannot think your way into peace. You can only act your way into clarity. Journaling, physical work, meditation. These are weapons against mental paralysis. Remember, the Stoic doesn't drown in thought. He filters it, channels it, then moves. Thinking without action is self-torture. Action is freedom. You say you want peace, but you keep handing your worth to others. One compliment lifts you, one criticism destroys you. That's not self-confidence, that's dependency. The Stoics warn that the man who needs approval will never be free. Epictetus said, if you wish to be loved, love yourself first. If you wish to be respected, respect yourself first. Every time you chase validation, you abandon your own judgment. You become a puppet of other people's opinions. Think about it. You dress, post, and speak not from truth, but from fear of rejection. The Stoic lives differently. He acts from principle, not popularity. He does what is right, not what is liked. You will find peace only when you stop outsourcing your self-worth. Praise means nothing if it can control you. Criticism means nothing if it can break you. The moment you no longer need the world to agree with you, you become untouchable. Freedom begins the instant you stop performing and start being. You ruin your peace every time you measure your worth against someone else's highlight reel. You see their success and forget your own timeline. You see their confidence and forget your own path. But comparison is a thief. It steals gratitude, purpose, and direction. The Stoics taught that envy is the result of misunderstanding what truly matters. Seneca wrote, "No man is crushed by fate unless he is already inwardly defeated." You compare because you've forgotten your lane. The universe didn't make you to mimic. It made you to master your own potential. Every second you spend envying another's progress is a second stolen from your own growth. A Stoic measures himself only against who he was yesterday. Did you think better today? Speak wiser. Control yourself more. That's the only comparison that matters. Envy is blindness. Self-reflection is vision. Compete with your former self, not with the illusions of others. Your race is internal. Run it with discipline and quiet fire. Excuses are comforting lies you tell yourself to avoid the pain of responsibility. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start when I'm ready. No, you're avoiding growth. The Stoics never tolerated self-pity. Epictetus said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus can conquer my will." Meaning, your circumstances can't stop you, only your excuses can. Every time you justify an action, you strengthen weakness. Excuses sound harmless, but they rot your discipline from within. You don't need perfect conditions to act, you need courage. You don't need motivation, you need standards. The Stoic doesn't wait for inspiration. He commands himself to move. Stop saying someday. The clock is already running. The truth is, if it matters, you'll make time. If it doesn't, you'll make an excuse. Discipline means doing what must be done, especially when it's inconvenient. The world respects results, not reasons. The longer you explain your limits, the more they define you. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your routines. Everyone wants transformation, but few have the discipline to repeat small actions every day. The Stoics understood that greatness isn't built in moments of intensity, but in consistency. Marcus Aurelius didn't become wise by accident. He wrote in his journal every morning. Training his thoughts like a soldier sharpens his sword. Seneca didn't find calm by chance. He practiced reflection every night, reviewing his behavior and correcting his faults. You want control. Then you need structure. A Stoic morning begins before the world wakes, in silence, gratitude, and purpose. A Stoic night ends with reflection, not distraction. Routine is not restriction, it's liberation. Because once discipline becomes habit, you no longer rely on motivation. You simply act. Your rituals are your armor. Protect them, perfect them, live by them. Small daily order leads to massive internal power. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It whispers, you've earned rest. When you haven't even started, it seduces you with warmth while it drains your edge. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, not because they loved pain, but because they feared weakness. Seneca slept on hard floors, fasted, and walked barefoot to remind himself that luxury softens the will. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way. You cannot build mental steel while chasing ease." Every time you avoid challenge, you teach your mind that comfort is safety, and safety becomes your prison. So, train yourself to choose discomfort daily. Wake early, embrace the cold, face hard conversations, do what your laziness resists. Each act of voluntary hardship strengthens the muscle of discipline. Comfort makes you fragile, struggle makes you unbreakable. The Stoic doesn't run from pain, he runs toward growth. Seek discomfort on purpose, and life's challenges will no longer scare you. Power is not in what happens to you, it's in how you answer it. The weak man reacts, the Stoic responds. The difference, one is ruled by impulse, the other by intention. Life will provoke you, people will insult you, plans will fail, emotions will flare, but your reaction defines your fate. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, if someone does wrong, it is because they believe it right. So why waste rage on ignorance? Every time you lash out, you hand someone else your power. Control is not suppression, it's strategy. It's knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to walk away. You don't need to prove your strength, your restraint already proves it. The world admires loud confidence, but fears silent control. The man who can remain calm while others lose composure owns the room. So next time you feel your temper rising, pause, not to avoid the fight, but to win it before it begins. The undisciplined man avoids mirrors, not the ones made of glass, but the ones that reveal his truth. The Stoic looks into them daily. Self-reflection is not self-blame, it's self-mastery. Seneca wrote, "Each day, we must call ourselves to account." Before sleep, he reviewed his words, his temper, his distractions, asking, "What did I do well? Where did I fall short? What can I improve tomorrow?" That ritual turned reflection into refinement. You can't fix what you refuse to face. So instead of running from your mistakes, dissect them, learn from them. Growth isn't built by perfection, it's built by correction. The fool hides his flaws. The Stoic studies them until they lose control over him. Journaling, silence, honest review. These are your daily audits of the soul. Don't wait for the world to judge you. Judge yourself first. The more honest you are in solitude, the less the world can expose you. Truth is painful, but it's also purification without a clear purpose. Even the strongest mind decays. You wake up, scroll, work, eat, sleep, and still feel empty. That's not depression, that's directionless living. The Stoics lived with purpose carved into every breath. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "At dawn, when you rise unwillingly, remember your purpose as a human being. You are not here to chase pleasure or approval. You are here to fulfill duty, to serve, to grow." A man without purpose becomes a slave to impulse, but a man with purpose becomes unstoppable. Purpose is the anchor that keeps you grounded when life storms around you. It's what makes sacrifice meaningful and discipline sustainable. You don't need to find your purpose, you need to define it. Choose something worthy of suffering, then align your actions with it until your days become deliberate. When you know your why, every how becomes clear. When you forget it, everything feels heavy. Purpose isn't luxury, it's survival. Words are weapons. They can heal or destroy, elevate or poison. Most people speak to fill silence. The Stoic speaks to create meaning. Epictetus said, "Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary, and in few words." Every careless word weakens your authority. Every emotional outburst exposes your instability. You want to command respect, then master your tongue. Speak less, mean more. Never react in anger. Words spoken in heat will burn you later. Restrain yourself when gossip tempts you. A wise man's silence often screams louder than others' noise. The disciplined man measures his speech like gold, each sentence weighed, each opinion earned. Before you talk, ask, does this need to be said? Does it serve truth? Or is it just my ego seeking attention? The Stoic knows that control of speech is control of mind. Power doesn't always roar, sometimes it whispers, and sometimes it says nothing at all. You suffer not because life is cruel, but because you keep demanding that it match your script. You expect fairness, loyalty, ease, and when reality disobeys, you crumble. The Stoics freed themselves from this poison by destroying expectation. Epictetus said, "When you were disappointed, remember, it was not the thing itself that hurt you, but your expectation of it. Expectation breeds resentment. Acceptance breeds strength. The world owes you nothing, not recognition, not justice, not comfort. The more you expect, the weaker you become. When you stop demanding life to be easy, you start becoming powerful enough to handle it as it is." The Stoic doesn't hope for calm seas. He learns to sail through storms. He doesn't ask, "Why is this happening?" He asks, "How can I use this?" Drop your expectations and you'll find freedom in reality. You can't control what happens, but you can control whether it breaks you or builds you. Gratitude isn't weakness, it's rebellion against negativity. When your mind focuses on what's missing, gratitude reminds you of what's already here. Seneca said, "He who is not grateful for what he has would not be satisfied with what he hopes to have." The undisciplined mind complains about inconvenience. The trained mind sees opportunity. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to let hardship blind you to what remains. You woke up today. You can breathe, think, act, change. That alone is fortune. The Stoics practice gratitude not once a year, but daily, for existence itself, for the struggle that shapes them, for the lessons disguised as pain. Try it. Each night, name 3 things that kept you grounded. They can be simple: a moment of calm, a lesson learned, a person who stayed. Gratitude disarms bitterness. It turns loss into insight, failure into fuel. A grateful warrior cannot be defeated because he already sees life as a gift. If you've come this far, you already carry what most people never will: awareness. And awareness is the beginning of freedom. You've learned that the war isn't out there, it's within. You've faced your emotions, questioned your thoughts, challenged your comfort, and reclaimed your discipline. That's the Stoic path. Not an escape from pain, but mastery over it. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, loss, and endless pressure, yet he ruled himself with calm. You can do the same. The Stoic doesn't chase happiness. He builds strength. He doesn't seek control over life. He seeks control over self. Remember this: you are not broken. You are becoming. Each obstacle, each failure, each doubt is your training ground. Keep showing up, keep practicing, keep observing. The goal is not to feel good, but to become solid, calm in chaos, steady under stress, grateful in adversity. That's what makes a man unshakable. Now go and live like one. If this message spoke to something deep within you, don't just let it fade when the screen goes dark. Take one truth from this video and apply it today, even if it's small. The Stoic path is not built through theory, but through action. You don't have to transform overnight. You just have to take the next disciplined step toward the person you were meant to become. Remember, awareness means nothing without movement. So act, reflect, train your mind daily. And as you do, watch how calm turns into confidence and discipline turns into peace. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your reflections in the comments below. What lesson hit you the hardest? Your words might be the spark that helps someone else rise. If this video helped you, please like it, subscribe for more Stoic teachings and self-mastery lessons, and share it gently with someone who needs strength today. Thank you for watching, and remember, every day is a new chance to live with clarity, courage, and Stoic motivation.